Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and we are on one of my favorite roads. First time with the S2000. So let's take a little spirited drive and learn what makes the S2000 so special. Now, I am driving a 2004, which is the first year of the AP2. So you have the bigger engine, slightly more torque. Red line drops down to about 8,000 RPM from 9,000. I hope the brakes work. Now, I have an 04 the first year, so they didn't go to electronic throttle, which they call EPAS, electronic power steering, until 06. And 06 also got a traction control and stability control, which I don't have on the 04. So the 04s you have to drive. There's no rev matching. Any rev matching you hear in this video is me, and there's no stability control or traction control, so I have to be very careful myself. Now, you've seen me drive this road on the Porsche, and it is way different driving in the S2K, nowhere near the same speed, and this is my first time on the road, so I certainly don't want to overdo it. Always drive below your abilities. I'm kind of driving this road, honestly, to test if the brakes hold up. I want to see. The Porsche brakes never fade, but I have no idea if the S2000, oh deer, 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 look at this. Couple deer. When you see deer, there's always 3 of them, so that was 2. Apparently, they take morning runs on this road as well. I also never accelerate where I can't see. So if I can't see what's over that ridge, I don't know if it's a deer, a hiker, a cyclist. Now, one thing I do notice is, though it's probably only 200 pounds or 300 pounds lighter than my 911, but I do notice that extra lightness and how nimble that it is. And watch for motorcycles too. So get out there and drive your sports car. Don't save your sports car for the next guy. I've put probably about 2,000 miles on this S2000 around in the short time that I've had it. I try to drive it as much as I can. So here we're going to take a spirited drive that you've seen me drive the Porsche and other cars. So we're doing it today on the S2000. Now I have the top up, so it's chilly in the morning when you don't have heated seats when you drive this car with the top down. And so we're driving with the top up, and plus the wind noise when I'm filming, you wouldn't hear that good. Now this is an 04, so we have no traction control, no stability control, the first year of the AP2. So we have the lower 8,000 RPM red line and a little more torque. We have Pilot Sport 4S tires, which I think are one of the best street tires. For this car, they're just under $1,000. They're like $990 for a set of 4, and well worth it. Very sticky tires. And what I like about the Michelins is that they're actually good in the rain. I don't drive this car in the rain, but on my other cars, my E90 M3 that I had and other cars that I had it on, it's a tire you could easily do well on a back road, and it also holds water very well, or pushes away water very well. All right, so if you have an S2000, you really don't care. I care about handling way more than acceleration. That's why I've owned 3 S2000s, and that's why I've owned 2 E46 M3s and 2 NSXs, because I put handling a priority over acceleration. We're already hitting traffic. So what's great about this car is there's no rev matching downshifts. I have to actually shift myself. And again, if this was in 2006, I'd have stability control and traction control. I don't have either. So everything I'm doing here, I have to do. Now, one thing that may shock you with S2000s, just like NSXs, is that the steering is electric. There is no hydraulic steering. So these are 2 drivers' cars. And 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, they had electric steering. And now Porsche, BMW, all these car companies are finally coming up to snuff here, where they actually have decent electric power steerings, where Honda and Acura, Honda's luxury brand, perfected this steering 15, 20 years ago. All right, now we got some clear traffic. I mean, some clear roads. Even though this car has electric power steering, you can still place this car really, really well. And this car loves to drive it at high RPMs. Remember, you always have to enjoy the S2000, you have to drive it like you stole it. Originally, my first drive of an AP2, I didn't like it because I didn't realize you had to drive like you stole it. Now with the suspension tweaks on the AP2, you really can go into corners much faster and don't have to worry about the snap oversteer of the AP1s. And that's kind of why I prefer the AP2s. If my car was a track car, I would definitely want the AP1 to do that oversteer. But if it's going to be a car that I have to enjoy at regular roads, that I kind of want to take some high-speed turns and have some feel stable, even though I don't have stability control on these 04s and 05s, I'm taking the AP2. I like the AP1, I love driving it, but to own it, it's got to be an AP2 for me. But there's no wrong answer. And this has a cable throttle, so they didn't go to electronic throttle until 2006. So when I press the gas, the response is immediate. The car's going to do exactly what I tell it to do. It's not going to go to a computer that's going to guess what I want to do. The computer says, hey, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do that? Okay. Or maybe, no, you shouldn't do that. Here, it has to do exactly what I tell it to do. Now, it's very noisy in here. As we get higher speeds, it's really hard to hear it. I'm almost yelling, and I got the GoPro right in front of my face for you guys to hear me. So if you don't like noisy cars, this car isn't for you. So if you're going to take long highway runs, this car is great if you can hit roads with a lot of turns, or with the convertible down for the scenery, or if you have good weather where you live, and we don't have good weather here in the Northeast. But the downfall is if I had to take a 2-hour highway trip. It's kind of small in here, it's going to be bumpy in here, and the road noise is probably going to drive you crazy. It'll drive you crazy even more if you have tires that are wearing down. Some tires, summer tires, not these 4S's, but a lot of the competitors get very noisy as they wear down. So again, if none of those things bother you, then you're definitely, and you value handling over acceleration and a manual gearbox. The great thing about this car is you don't have to look at the pictures to see what's your auto or what's your manual. They are all manual gearboxes. See, now if I go up to a higher gear, we go up to 5th gear here, it gets a little quieter in here. But as the revs climb, it gets really, really noisy, which is part of the charm. All right, guys, as we come to this traffic light, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.